Okay, welcome to Architecture and Design Talk, or we call at Plus. So today we're going to have a talk by Madam Natalie Cotter. So if you're new here, this Architecture and Design Talk is a design talk event organized by the Department of Architecture, Faculty of Built Environment, UNIMAS, which we conduct from time to time. Our speaker today is Madam Natalie Cotter. She will be talking about placemaking and the urban space. So today we want to hear more about placemaking and the urban space. If you students new to the term, now is the time for you to listen and learn from her. Before that, let me introduce you to our speaker. Madam Natalie graduated from Infrastructure University of Kuala Lumpur with Bachelor of Science in Architectural Studies and University of Malaya with Master of Architecture. She also has a working experience with Architect KDI, Kuching, and Consortium Bumi Consultants and Services, two local established firms before serving Sarawak State Civil Service as Municipal Architect for Cebu Municipal Council. So currently, Joy has recently joined UNIMAS Faculty of Built Environment as a full-time lecturer to contribute to the education of architecture. Her interests among them are urban regeneration, heritage conservation, and sustainability. Without further ado, let's welcome her, Madam Joy. So, Madam Joy Natalie, the screen is yours.
Okay, thank you so much, Puan Donna. Okay, so a very good morning, everyone, and welcome to UNIMAS webinar this morning, Architecture and Design Talk. My title of my webinar today would be Placemaking and the Urban Space. Okay, so placemaking and the urban space. What is placemaking? So this is a collage of basically what represents placemaking. Perhaps placemaking may be a new term to some of you. Maybe not many are familiar with that term, but I just show you some collages or a compilation of images that show the essence of what is placemaking. So you can see from the images here, you see images of space used as activity spaces, places for installation of street arts, places where people can come together to do fun activities together, either recreational or maybe even place to try new food. Maybe some have some fun fair or some things like alfresco dining. Okay, so those are the examples of what can be done to open spaces. So this brings us to think about what if we build our communities around spaces or around public spaces. Okay, so that is a thought. Okay, that's food for thought. So what is placemaking? So placemaking means creating places and focuses on transforming public spaces to strengthen the connection between people and these places. So placemaking is a process centered on people. It's a people-centric, people-driven. You bring in the people and the community to work together with you to transform an urban space or an open space to make it, to transform a place to a space that can be used by all, okay? And also it's centered on people's needs, aspirations, desires, and visions. which relies strongly on community participation. Yeah, so when we bring in the community, okay, to join us to transform a place to a space, that is placemaking. Yeah. Okay, so the origin of placemaking concept, how did it all started? So in the book of American cities, okay, thinkers like Jane Jacobs and William White introduced ideas about designing cities for people and not just for structures and cars, okay, because back then it was the Industry Revolution. So during the Industry Revolution, okay, I think most development back then concentrated on basically the manufacturing of, for example, like cars, like that. Okay, automotive sort of revolution was going on back then. But and cities grew because of the industry revolution. So but then those thinkers, they in the 1960s, they think that, you know, cities is not just about building cars and building cities, building the built environment in its, you know, concrete form and all that, but it's also about creating spaces, meaningful spaces, okay, they can be shared by people of all interests, okay, and it's also important to have lively neighborhoods, okay, and to inculcate social and the cultural fabric into producing a shared space, okay, for everyone. So in 1990s and onwards, okay, the People for Public Spaces, okay, is a non-profit organization that originated in the US, promotes placemaking. And in fact, they have actually done a lot of placemaking projects, okay, not just in America, but they have done globally as well. And they are the ones that sort of coined this term placemaking, okay? It only started to be used from the 1990s onwards. So placemaking, in addition to fostering community practices, okay, Project for Public Spaces, this non-profit organization, has contributed to spreading knowledge by launching guidelines about developing great public spaces and providing recommendation on how to improve living in cities, okay? So that is how the placemaking concept developed, okay, from the 60s, and then 1990s onwards, it's sort of this idea of this concept of placemaking sort of spread internationally. Okay, what makes a place great? Okay, this is the place diagram, okay, from Project for Public Spaces as well. So this place diagram, okay, basically shows what makes a place great, okay. The inner circle here, okay, is actually the 4 key attributes of what makes a place great lah. Okay, basically sociability, users and activities, comfort and image, access and linkages. These are the key ingredients of in what can make a place great. And then this middle circle here would be the intangible qualities that stem out from the 4 key attributes, okay? And then the outer ring here, the outer circle, would be the measurable data, how these key attributes are measured, okay? They are measured by statistic, property value data, okay, and also perhaps measured by qualitative value, okay, qualitative value, feedbacks of how the street life is like, for example, okay. So those this is how we use this place diagram, okay, to actually derive placemaking, okay, how we can design placemaking. We use this place diagram to guide us, okay. So these are the four key attributes of placemaking just now. Access and linkages, okay, that's the first one. So a place, right, to be great, okay, they must have access and linkages, good access and linkages, meaning to say that they must be accessible and well connected to other important places in that area. Okay, it must portray comfort in each, okay, meaning to say that the place are to be comfortable and project a good image, okay, and users and activities, they are to be able to attract people to participate in the area. And then in terms of sociability, they are sociable environments in which people want to gather and visit over and over again. So these are what make the place great. Okay, you need to have these four key attributes: access and linkages, comfort and image, users and activities, and sociability. Okay, access and linkages. So these are, I portray images again of examples of access and linkages, such as this. They have transformed the street level, okay, some elements of street level into interesting access and linkages that can be used as a means of not only just for a crossing, okay, for their function as crossroads, but also potentially as activity areas, okay, that can generate people to come together and to gather in the middle of the city, okay. Comfort and image, okay, comfort and image, for example, in the middle of metropolitan city, right? You can have a nice urban park, okay, where people can gather and have recreational activities. And then perhaps by having that urban park in the middle of the city, it can also give some sort of image, okay, to the city, that there is a green lung, okay, in the middle of the city, so that it's not all concrete jungle, and that in the middle of that city, where there is an urban park, there's a potential for the urban park to be lively. So there's much activity happening around. So that gives this sort of image, you know, lively city image as well to the city. Okay, users and activities. Okay, this is an example of an open square in Fort Worth, Texas. Okay, where they actually use it as well for fun fairs, or to have sort of like expos, and to have street flea markets as well. So it serves multiple usage, you see, and this place in the middle of the city, okay, where they turn it, they use it for multiple usage, is able to attract people into the center of the city, and to have and to mingle and to actually you know, meet with one another, and to besides just having an activity, it's also a place where people can actually interact. And if you see here, in this picture here, is that beside the flea market, they also have some sort like of an alfresco dining here that's happening at the middle of the square. So this really attracts people, you know, by having this sort of activity on an open space, you know, instead of leaving it just as an open space. It can be used with multiple usage, you know, that can garner activity and make the place lively as well. Sociability. Okay, this is an example in Houston, Texas, where an open square, okay, an open garden here can be used up for screening, okay, open air screening of movies or whatever lah that can be shown here. So I think this is ideal as well to be, you know, I mean, this open space can be utilized, why not, right? As a space that can promote social activities such as this, okay, where people can just gather and enjoy the scenery of the park and also having a great time enjoying themselves in this open air screening and with the backdrop of the city skyline at the back. So this is just one of the examples in terms of a place that can promote sociability, okay, when we have placemaking. Okay, so 11 principles for creating great places, okay, that can strengthen placemaking is that among them, the community is the expert, okay. We always try to include the community in placemaking so that they would not be left out, and not only that they would not be left out, but also the community is the one that will be able to give you the best input on what would be able to, I mean, how are we able to make great use of that particular space, okay, within that area. The community in that area will be able to tell you what are their ideals, you know, of their ideal activities that they would like to do that, to be done there in that particular space, you know, that would make the space meaningful. And perhaps when we include them, you know, we would create that sense of ownership in them as well, so that they can feel like they truly belong to that place. Create a place, not a design. Okay, when we design, we try to transform a place to a space, okay, so that it becomes meaningful to the end user, and not just designing for the sake of designing, but truly create a shared space that is community driven. Okay, when we bring people in with their ideas, we try to include their ideas, so that transform a place to a space indirectly. Okay, we always look for partners. We don't work alone especially in designing, because we try to bring in as much input as possible from different stakeholders. Okay, the communities, we have the communities, we have perhaps if it's a joint collaboration activity between, let's say, the government and the community, and also perhaps the education sector will also come in to give their input. So perhaps, you know, all these people will be able to work together to collaborate and create a space, a wonderful space for that particular area. So that is an example of partnership or collaborative placemaking. Okay, and not to forget also the developers and those from consultants from the construction industry. Okay, they normally they will also come along to join in placemaking efforts. Okay, they always say it can be done. Okay, this is sort of like challenging the brief. Okay, when many said that, you know, this place is run down, or this particular area is run down, we can't do placemaking here. It's not possible to create placemaking here. People won't come here, you know. Perhaps we as designers, okay, especially designers, we should challenge the brief and say that, you know, it can be done instead of cannot. You know, why not create a place from that was once nothing to something meaningful, okay, that can be shared by the community. Have a vision. Okay, when you have a vision in place, we have idea of what we want to have at the particular place, together with the community. When we bring in part of the community, we bring in the consultant, the developers, and then we have some from the council, for example, inputs from all these people. When we sit down together and discuss, we can have a vision of what we want on that particular shared space and turn that place into a wonderful shared space for everyone. Okay, you can see a lot just by observing. Okay, I think this applies to aspect of design as well. We do a lot of observation. Designers will naturally do a lot of observation before they start on their project. They would have to observe. We would observe the site, okay, the usage of the site, how is the site being utilized by people. We observe many things, you know. We observe what's the traffic like, for example, of the site, who normally uses the site, okay, and what are the activities that are done on the site. So when we observe all that and we take into consideration the daily activities and the happenings of the site and the surrounding, you know, we take that into consideration when we design shared spaces, okay, especially for placemaking. Form supports function, okay. Function is the priority here, okay, because it needs to be, the space needs to be functional, okay. Besides just being aesthetically pleasing, it needs to be functional, and especially when it's shared by everyone, okay, by the community. It needs to be a high performing shared space, okay. Triangulate, meaning to say that you would want to have at least minimum 3 elements. When put together, okay, they would form the basis of a good shared space. For example, like you want to transform an open space into an alfresco dining. Okay, what are the 3 basic things that you need? Okay, you need a seating place, okay, you need shaded area, for example, and then you need a landmark, okay, you need a landmark, for example. So when putting these 3 elements together, okay, this will create the basis of for you to design your shared space, okay, to be turned into the alfresco dining, for example. Okay, experiment, lighter, quicker, cheaper. Okay, I think placemaking concept is a great platform for experimentation on using lighter, quicker and cheaper materials, for example, okay? Because transformation of an open space, I think it would be a good opportunity to actually explore a lot of ideas, because when you have an open space, okay, it's basically like a blank canvas. Okay, you have that blank canvas where there's nothing there yet. So, and when people have yet to do anything to an open space, so that creates that potential of placemaking, you know, and this sort of invites experiment ideas of what can be done to an open space. So perhaps maybe open air screening. I think before this in Kuching, we have sort of independent art group, okay, that have done some activities in within the vicinity of Kuching area. That is sort of experimental, borderline experimental. One of it is wayang kulit, okay, that is done in an open air, you know, space in the vicinity of Kuching. So that is also an example of placemaking, okay, of how an open space can be turned into an experimental sort of activity that is done on site, okay. Money is not the issue, okay. That is the sort of the mantra for placemaking, okay. And you are never finished, okay. There's endless possibilities of what can be done on an open space, to turn it into a shared space, to turn it into a community-driven space, you know, that can be shared by all. Okay, so I've come up with a few case study that would be beneficial, especially in the local scene, okay, in our own local context, okay, because just now a lot of the examples that I showed is, a lot of them are in America and internationally. So these are the examples that are located locally. So I've zoomed in into Georgetown, Penang. Okay, Georgetown, Penang, as you all know, is a UNESCO listed, World Heritage listed city. Okay, they have that award to them. And in fact, in Georgetown, Georgetown is a very interesting place. Recently, a lot of urban rejuvenation projects being done in Georgetown, Penang, here and there. It's not just the heritage conservation part, but also the urban rejuvenation project that's being done here and there around the city, you know. And this is one of them, Siabui Urban Archaeological Park. Okay, Siabui Urban Archaeological Park is a public park located beside Prangin Canal. This is the Prangin Canal. Okay, as you can see here, that's filled with ikan koi. And this urban rejuvenation project, okay, was recently completed in 2019, to actually preserve the structure of the former Siabui market, okay, building. And that market building is actually a heritage building, and they actually preserve that in this project as well, to actually make it part of the urban park, okay. And this urban area, okay, supposedly there, I mean, it was heard that the Komta LRT station was to be built here, but they have shifted it to Magazine Road, so hence the old market, okay, the Siabui market was spared. That heritage building was spared. So and only in fast forward to 2019, then only this park was completed. Okay, and they actually sort of rejuvenate this whole area, because before this, this canal was in bad shape as well, and there was nothing here actually. You know, there was no landscaping, no nothing. So perhaps I tried to share a video, and we watched short video on Siabui.
Madam Joy, is there a sound for the video?
Yes, can you hear?
It's not clear.
Okay. Hold on, let me pause. There is a sound, but can you all hear the sound of the video? It's just the background music actually.
Actually, we cannot hear it clearly. It's
How about the video? Can you see
in
the
the background.
video?
Yeah, the video can see.
Okay, the video can see, but not the sound, huh?
Not the sound.
Okay, it's just a background music. There's no basically I mean no talking on the video. So is that okay if I just continue to share?
Fine, should be okay.
I think should be okay lah, right? It's
Yes.
basically I want to
Okay.
show how this Selby market used to be like before, and then and they transform it into this urban archaeological park. Okay, so just now was a video on Siabui Urban Archaeological Park. I think I showed the video because there were a lot of images of how, I mean, the before part of how the area was like before it was rejuvenated. Okay, and once rejuvenated, it's placemaking because They created a space, okay, from once derelict space, okay, and they rejuvenated it, okay, and transformed it into a shared space for the community where uh, urban recreational activities can be done, and then as well as I mean, people can just enjoy the greenery and aspects of heritage as well, like the market and the view of the surrounding old shop houses, okay, that adds color as well into the site. So all of this, and the site is very accessible as well. Not to forget, the 4 key attributes is now accessible because it's in the middle of town. Once it's rejuvenated, it bears the image of comfortability, okay. People now want to come because the place looks great. And then now there are activities injected to it, and this promotes sociability. So you see how those 4 key attributes just now you know, applies to this place, from a place that is nothing, okay, that is old and derelict, okay, to a place that is transformed into a rejuvenated shared space. Okay, so with those 4 key attributes in place just now, so that is placemaking. Okay, and this is one of the example. Just for side information, maybe some of you are wondering, why is it an archaeological park? Okay, another side info is that this place, right? You see this Penanng Canal, okay, that is situated right in the middle of the park. There is a granite structure that was unearthed back in 2015, and it's actually an old, that structure is an old canal lock, and it's part of the canal basin.
Sorry,
And
Madam John.
yeah.
Are you sharing the slide?
Oh, is it not sharing yet, is it?
Yeah, I think now we're looking at the YouTube
Oh, I
screen.
see. Okay. Hold on. I thought it shared already. I need to reshare again. Hold on. Okay, so back to that. Why is it an archaeological park? Okay. So they found back in 2015. In fact, USM archaeological department. Okay, they actually were part of the team lah that excavated this old canal lock, okay, in this Penanng canal, and then that canal lock was in place, okay, to control discharge behind a basin that served as a reservoir. So that is a relic, okay, that is a relic, an old relic found on site. So thus, this park is also declared an archaeological park due to the archaeological findings, okay. So when I see this urban rejuvenation project done in Siabi, is that I imagine our, in Kuching context, okay, our old Gambia market, which has now been demolished, okay. Perhaps that area, okay, can be rejuvenated as well. And perhaps there is a potential to do placemaking in that area, you know, but it's too late now because the market is no longer there, okay. In fact, it's being replaced with an entire different project. But I think if we were to take a step back, perhaps this can be an alternative of what could have been done if we wanted to inject placemaking into that area, you know. And in fact, maybe it could be a better alternative, okay, if we want to restore and keep the heritage value of our heritage buildings, especially in the town area, intact. And with that, to also inject some form of activity and liveliness into the city, then that could have been done in the town area. Okay, so this is also part of Siabui area. Okay, the canal is just beside here actually, and then they also integrated children's playground into the park, okay, so that this would inject a form of sociability, okay, to the site. People, when they come, they can bring their kids to play here, so it'll be a very lively park, okay. So moving on to the second example, okay, that I've got, also in Georgetown. In fact, all my examples are in Georgetown because I think Georgetown Penang has done a wonderful job in placemaking, to put the placemaking concept into reality. And perhaps that is something that we can emulate. Okay. Second example would be the Armenian Park, okay, that is located adjacently to Leboh Armenia. In fact, this is on the left side is Leboh Armenia. On the right side is Leboh Aceh. Okay, Aceh Street. We have Aceh Street and Armenia Street flank on both sides, and then you have the park at the corner here. So in fact, this park, okay, a long time ago, before it was rejuvenated, okay, it was an open space area where there were lots of flea market there, and the market was called Thieves Market. Why it was called Thieves Market? Because it has a notorious background of where vendors, okay, they resold goods that were stolen. Okay, so that is something that is notorious before. So that's why notorious to the place. So that's why hence the market was nicknamed Thieves Market. Okay, and due to that, okay, naturally the image, of course, of the area is not that good. Okay, due to that, and then maybe people a bit, people don't really want to go there. They just want to if they can, they avoid that area because of due to that. So due to that image. So when the rejuvenation happened, okay, urban rejuvenation was done to this area, and they turned it into this wonderful green lung, okay, in the middle of the town. They transform it into an area where recreational activities can be done, and it serves as an activity space. So a lot of old folks would go there to do Tai Chi and that sort of thing, early in the morning, and people would just go for walks and all that. So with all this transformed, okay, we can see that placemaking is done here because proper placemaking is done because of urban rejuvenation, and also because of the 4 key attributes just now, not to forget about that. It's very accessible, okay. There's a lot of linkages, okay, going through the park, especially because it's in the middle of town. And then there's a lot of activities going on, and sociability aspect is there, and it's highly utilized, okay. So that is an example of good placemaking as well. Okay, the third example would be, this would all be back lanes around and about Georgetown. Okay, in fact, there are a lot of back lanes, okay, not only just in Georgetown but in a lot of cities, okay. We have a lot of underutilized back lanes that can be potentially utilized, okay, as a shared space for communities, and I think this would be a great place for placemaking. Lots of things can be done in the back lane, but of course this wouldn't be possible without the collaboration with different parties involved. Okay, this urban rejuvenation project done on back lanes around Georgetown. Okay, this is actually a collaborative effort between the different stakeholders. Okay, you got the communities, you got the developer. This is under Think City. Okay, this project is under Think City. Think City is a big developer, and they actually collaborated with the Penang City Council. Okay, that is the Penang City Council. The City Council play one of the biggest role, a major role, in fact, in this project, because they are the ones that hold the key, you see, to bring all these new ideas in, so that the city can be transformed through placemaking. So they allow such ideas to be done out and around their city, out and about around their city. So with the support from the local council, therefore this project is possible. So as you can see, like these flats, right? I think it's similar to our Kuching municipal flat, okay, in town area, okay, in our Kuching city center area. We also have these old municipal flats, okay, and surrounding it there will be lots of back lanes. So these back lanes, right, they have actually transformed it. The city council together with the Think City developer, they've transformed it, and they have also incorporated some recreational areas, okay, around the flats to make it as a functional, to create a functional shared space. Okay, before this there was nothing, so they have transformed it wonderfully, and it's functional. It's you see here, the communities actually use this space nicely. Okay, and other parts of backlands around the city were also being transformed, like this one in Jalan Magazine, okay, and some of it is in Jalan Gudwara. The backlands in between the shop houses, okay, before it was underutilized. It was only used as a means of access, okay, in between the shop houses, where people would walk through, and that's it. That's about it. But when urban rejuvenation was done, okay, to all these backlands, it was transformed into a sitting area, and in fact there were several alfresco dinings that were done beneath the art installation. So the art installation is part of the elements that were brought in to rejuvenate these back alleys and these back lanes, to make it aesthetically pleasing. Okay, they combine street art installation together with an injection of activity into the backlands, and it transformed the backland altogether. As you can see now, it's not a dead alleyway anymore, but it's actually a lively backland. Okay, so this is another example of placemaking. Okay. And this is another part of backland as well that's being transformed. Okay, they even have bicycle lanes here. Okay, so when you have bicycle lanes, okay, that shows that the city is actually walkable, and you can actually ride a bike all around the city, and you don't, this promotes walkability around the city, and it's not just city, you're not just bringing your cars around, and these back lanes can be utilized for cycling as well. And here is an example of, people, the community actually using it as an area for recreation. They do their Tai Chi or Qigong in this open area that's being rejuvenated, okay? So those are the examples, the local examples that is the essence of placemaking, where we can show the essence of placemaking, that there are a lot of placemaking done to out and about Georgetown. Okay, so the main takeaways, okay, of placemaking. So placemaking is not top-down, reactionary, design-driven, a blanket solution or quick fix. Okay, there's never a quick fix to placemaking. There's a lot of design thought process involved and a lot of collaboration with the different stakeholders, okay, the communities, the developers, the consultants, even the people from authority, the council, okay. It's not exclusionary, it's not car-centric, it's actually people-centric, okay. There's no one size fits it all. It's not static, it's not discipline-driven, it's not one-dimensional, it's not dependent on regulatory controls, okay. It's not a cost, there's no cost-benefit analysis, and it's not project-focused. But instead, placemaking is community-driven, okay, visionary, function before form, adaptable, inclusive, focus on creating destinations, okay, focusing on creating a shared space where people would want to come and go there over and over again. It's context specific, it's dynamic, transdisciplinary, transformative, flexible, collaborative, and sociable. Okay, that is the essence of placemaking. How I would conclude is that placemaking is, again, community driven, okay, and you need to have, everybody needs to collaborate to have a vision. When we all collaborate, okay, we need to have a certain vision of what we ideally want to have on that particular shared space. And it always places function before form. Okay, it must be highly functional for everyone, okay, instead of just aesthetically pleasing, but not to miss that out as well, that it goes hand in hand. It is adaptable, inclusive, and focus on creating destination, okay, like I said before, place that you want to create where people come over and over again. Context-specific, dynamic, transdisciplinary. It has transformative ability, promotes flexibility in its approach, and it's collaborative and promotes aspect of social spaces viable to all. So that is shared spaces that is done with a placemaking concept. And I hope my short sharing, although it's short, it's not long, on the placemaking concept would be able to give ideas, especially on students, on how to utilize an open urban space, okay, in your design. If you have pockets of open urban space, you can actually bring that placemaking concept to create a community-driven or people-driven shared space that could actually be a wonderful addition to your overall design idea later on. Yeah, so here ends my sharing. Perhaps I pass this session over to Puan Donna.
Okay, thank you, Madam Joy.
Welcome.
That's very informative and insightful presentation. I believe it's very useful for the students, especially those the students that it's the first time maybe learning about placemaking. So I believe that placemaking like enables the communities, yeah, as you mentioned, like to bond and celebrate, especially in Malaysia here, to celebrate diverse cultural identities, maybe enjoy the urban area, and also like creating quality place for people to live and then to work, to play, and maybe to learn. Yeah. So thank you once again, Madam Joy. And I'd like to open this session for a Q&A session. So is there anyone on the floor willing to ask anything to Madam Joy? So now it's 11 o'clock. Maybe I have one question for you, Joy. Do you think that like the Western ideas of placemaking compatible with the ideas here in Malaysia?
Okay, I think just now during the earlier part of my slide, right, there were a lot of ideas actually taken from, for example, America, because projects of public space, okay, PPS, actually originated, that organization itself originated from New York, US. So a lot of the ideas were done in America and Western countries. But I think those certain part of those ideas, it's possible to be injected into our local context, local scene, but it has to have that collaboration with our, for example, local authority. Okay, I think that's why I gave that example of Penang just now, because I think the Penang City Council did a wonderful job in actually sort of allowing, to the bringing in of those ideas, okay, from the West on placemaking into their local areas, into the local scene around Penang. So when you have the support, okay, from the especially the local authority, when the local authority work together with the community and work together with the consultants and developers, when they come along and actually have one vision in mind to transform a particular place into a community-driven shared space that can be shared by all. When you have that strong backing, I think it's possible actually, but it needs the collaborative effort from all these stakeholders. That's why placemaking is a collaborative effort. It's not one person punya a way of going about, but it's actually a collaborative effort. It needs the effort from all the stakeholders to be able to bring that vision in, to create a community-driven shared space into reality. So like maybe just now, I give one example of how, for example, our old Gambia market, which is already demolished, right? If we could go back in time, how we could have maybe create placemaking over there, for example, because the site is very interesting because it's in the middle of town, right in front of the main bazaar. So there's lots of happening there, and then you have the heritage aspect as well because of due to the heritage background of the main bazaar, the waterfront area, and it's linked to the kampong dekat seberang. So and the liveliness of the town center area. So that in itself is there's already a lot of elements, that can, if put in place, okay, perhaps placemaking could have been done there, and then that place could have been turned into perhaps maybe a wonderful recreation area that can be shared by all, and that old market can still be preserved as part and parcel of the whole total urban regeneration done to the area. For example, But it needs to have the strong backing from all parties lah, especially the
Also,
local authority. Yes, the council.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks. Thank you again, Madam Joy. We really appreciate it. Thanks for your time. And so I would like to thank also our participants here. And then I notice we are happy to welcome our friends ada from Lingkok Wing and also from Indonesia, Universitas Brawijaya. Among that I could see from the audience were Dr. Emma, Bu Noviani, Dr. Harry, and thank you all. Maaf kalau terlepas pandang. Thank you. Our next issue is tentatively next week. So be sure to check our Instagram, FBE_UNIMAS. And for all UNIMAS students and staff, we'll display the QR attendance in a short while. Yeah. So everyone, that wraps up our morning session here for this event. So on behalf of Department of Architecture, I'd like to thank you for making your time to join us this morning. Wish you all pleasant day. Thank you. Bye-bye.